Right. Well, thank you again, everyone, for joining us up here on the stage. First, I just wanted to ask if each of you would be willing to just introduce yourselves really briefly, and how you see your work as service providers intersecting with affordable housing in the communities that you serve. Scott, if you would like to go first.
Sure, thank you, Casey. So, Scott Redd, President and CEO of Sebastian Community Center, where our mission is to provide people of all ages and cultures with essential resources to inspire them to improve their lives and to build a thriving community. And how my work, our work at Sebastian intersects with the work that we do here at Alliance, it's about building thriving communities. We know that home changes everything. And being able to help folks move from surviving to thriving, it starts with home. So that's how our work intersects with that, making sure that folks have those resources and ability to be able to have home.
Hello, good morning. My name is Mangala Sharma and I work with Common Bond. I'm a service coordinator in Skyline Tower, which is one of our biggest sites in St. Paul. I'm originally from Bhutan. I became a refugee and lived in Nepal for some time and came to America. For me, home is everything, because being a refugee, I know how important it is to have a stable home. That's a place where it's a welcoming place where you feel comfortable, where kids survive. And I really applaud everybody who works for providing stable homes to people who need them.
My name is Kelina Morgan. I'm the Director of Housing Programs at Agate Housing and Services. It is very important to me to partner with agencies such as Alliance. I've done so in the past multiple times with the individuals that we house and households that we house. As affordable housing is rare and should be less rare, but it is agencies such as Alliance that we really need the housing partnerships with. I'm also a person of lived experience and know the stressors that cause and prevent stability in housing. So it's really important that we have opportunities such as those provided by Alliance Housing.
Good morning, I'm Chris Westergaard. I'm the Vice President of Clinical Services with Touchstone Mental Health. And I think thinking of affordable housing and how it impacts the people we work with, many of the people we work with serious mental illness really struggle to have incomes that are sufficient to afford housing. So affordable housing is instrumental so that people can engage in their treatment. Without stable housing, we often see people not engaging in mental health treatment, substance use treatment. Really that instability kind of creates instability throughout the other components of their life as well.
Well, thank you all so much. And this first question I'm going to direct first to Kelina and then to you, Scott. And it is, so as housing or as service providers, what barriers do you see individuals you serve struggling with in securing and maintaining housing?
As mentioned, so affordable housing is a need. And so a huge barrier is that there is a lack of affordable housing. And also oftentimes folks need support in finding those housing, so we utilize support such as case management and housing location or housing navigation that supports with finding that type of housing as well. Yeah.
You know, so what I've seen in over my 30-some years working in this field is it's racism. It's racism. It's how folks feel uncomfortable with the differences, right? It's not I don't think it's the things that make us alike. It's the things that make us different. That's the challenges. And that goes everything from policing to property management. I've seen so many times that individuals with barriers get treated different. And it's because of their income, because of their race. And I give you, I promise I'll be brief, but I'll give you an example. I used to work at an organization that I loved, and I know that at a leadership team, we saw that we had mixed housing and mixed income housing, where we had individuals that were that was nurses that worked in the medical field, doctors, right? Sharing places where we had folks that was 811 residents who had low incomes and had disabilities, and the way that some of those property managers treated those individuals, they treated them different. So when the nurses would come in, or folks with these high incomes would come in, they were treated differently, right? They were talked to differently than the folks who were low income. We got rid of those property managers and we brought in some good ones, but being able to understand and to be culturally competent and to be able to work with folks where they're at and make sure that you treat everyone the same. And that's how you want to be treated and how you would want your family to be treated. So being able to see that, to be able to understand that folks come in at different pathways, but as property managers, as folks who do this business, that we treat everybody the same and make sure that they have what they need to be successful.
Thank you for that. This next question I'm going to direct first to Mangala and then to Chris. And as Jessie mentioned in her comments earlier, Alliance, our mission really centers around providing safe, stable, affordable housing, but also, providing support to residents that may be working towards meeting goals that they've identified for themselves and for their families. And one of the ways that we do that is by partnering with service providers that really specialize and excel at providing a number of different supportive services that can include things like educational opportunities or mental health services, chemical health services, financial literacy training, transportation services. The list can go on depending on what people have identified for themselves as goals. So what role do you see partnerships playing in tackling housing and homelessness in the communities that you serve?
Partnership play a very, very important role because, as you know, one agency cannot do everything. I could go back to where I work. I work in one of the biggest sites in St. Paul. And I've seen that with a huge population that we serve, one or two staff cannot handle everything. So we have partners that help with employment, which increases income for the residents generate so houses are stable. And another thing is, I think partnering with agencies also is a mutual benefits, especially if you partners with community like colleges and universities, where our kids get to see them as role models, and they get encouraged to study and to be able to be successful. In the same time, university students also get this humongous experience from working with our kids because people speak different languages, and they get to see how our kids and their parents tackle every day with various challenges they face in their life. So it becomes a life experience for both parties. And so I feel like one of the success to bring the communities together is partnering and working together.
And I can piggyback off of that a little bit. I think the partnerships that we have in place to support people are so important because we can't, as organizations, we can't be everything to everyone, and we definitely have our own specializations. So really utilizing those partnerships like Alliance, like a brick and mortar partner for Touchstone is super important. We're not, we don't own buildings, we're not property managers. Substance use treatment, providers that help with benefits like getting Social Security and securing increased income, or vocational partners, and just knowing we work with people that all intersect all of our agencies and so many of their partners in this room, right? And it takes really all of those partners for every individual and those individual needs. And I think our most effective partnerships too are when we clearly know what our different roles are and how we're supporting individuals, but it really takes a lot of work for every person and a lot of different resources to meet those individual needs.
Thank you both. And our final question here, I'm going to direct first to Scott and then to Chris. And so for people in the room, what can individuals, who care about these issues, that see unsheltered neighbors in their communities and want to be part of the solution, what would you say to those people?
Write the check. So I came here with a couple of goals. One was to be able to see good folks out here that I haven't seen in a while, like Caroline Horton. And I thought I saw Kimberly Spates here somewhere. But to see, catch up with those folks. But to decrease that gap. You heard earlier our leader talk about that $600 gap that we see in affordable housing. It's hard. It's hard work, and I think about folks. I think about folks like Kelina Morgan, who is brilliant, right? Casey, brilliant, could be making millions and millions of dollars doing something else. But we're different, right? We're different in the way that we go about treating others and doing this work and making sure that that everybody has an opportunity. And what I know best about us in America is that we can accomplish anything, right? When I think about COVID and how we led in COVID, where it was so dim and people thought this world is going to end, but we took an approach that we ended it. We ended something that was since the Great Depression, right? We ended something that was putting us on a path to going down, right? But we took that approach. If we take that same approach with ending racism, if we take that same approach with ending homelessness, right? That we put it at the front of our list and say, yeah, we can't continue to be like California. We can't continue to be like Seattle, right? I've been to those places and I've seen it's just become the norm where folks ride by individuals that's on the street, sleeping on the street, stepping over those people. That's not who we are in Minnesota, and I don't ever want us to be that way. Where we see people, and you see it all the time. When I drove in this morning, I counted 7 people that I saw standing on the corner with a blanket or sleeping on the corner with a blanket. I saw a lot of that in Seattle. I saw a lot of that in San Francisco, and it became so normal to those individuals. I don't want it to become normal to us. I want us to be able to make that happen. And if our government's not going to do it, we have to lead as individuals. So when I say write that damn check, write that check. So if you're going to give 200, give 400, right? I find myself giving more and more, and it's not because I'm making more money. It's because there's more and more need that's happening that our philanthropic and our government's not making happen. That $600 is real. And that's the difference from helping people move from surviving to thriving. So I hope folks are able to give a little bit more, to give a lot more, and to make sure that we become the shining example in this country, in this world, of how we care about our fellow neighbors, our fellow folks. So no one has to sleep on the streets, and no one has to go broke and make a decision from whether do I pay my electricity bill, do I pay rent, or do I eat. So that's what I would say.
Thank you.
Kind of adding what Scott said about that, I think one of the biggest things is taking what you heard today and educating your friends and neighbors. Think about there's a lot of there's an election this year, so there are lots of people who support affordable housing initiatives. Educate your elected officials about these. Share the stories you're hearing today. But advocate for those things. I think we see sometimes our elected officials not quite understanding what the need is or how to actually engage in what we need to actually kind of end homelessness and actually have affordable housing. So educate those individuals, reach out to your elected officials. And I think another thing is supporting affordable housing in your neighborhoods. We see that very frequently, that it is not accepted in areas, but affordable housing is good for your neighborhoods. It's good for our communities. So I think just having your own support in your neighborhoods. We've seen affordable housing projects die in different communities throughout Minnesota, and that's not good for us. So.
Well, please join me in thanking this amazing panel of our